Okay, so now we have to do the tricky part, which is developing the SQL query for deleting the image set. And if we were just deleting the image set record, it would be pretty easy because we could delete image sets from image sets, join user on param user is equal to username and so on and so forth. So we could do that all in one statement. But if you want to delete the images that are linked to the image set as well, then that makes life a lot more complicated because you have to actually write a stored procedure that fetches data out of a couple of different tables and then have some conditional logic in there to check that the user has permission to do the delete. And then after fetching the IDs for the original full page and thumbnail images, then you have to delete all three of those records in addition to deleting the image set record. So the way you write a stored procedure that reads values from a table and then does something with them is to use a cursor. And so, as I said, this is a fairly complicated query, so we're going to develop it one step at a time. And I'm going to start by creating a routine. And it's called DeleteImageSet. It takes an ID and a user. So DeleteImageSet, and it takes two parameters, param ID, param user. ID is an integer and user is a varchar 64. So let's just write a simple query that fetches the user data for this user and then selects that data. So first I'm going to wrap this in begin end because I'm going to need multiple statements. And I'm going to declare some local variables that I can store some values in. So declare and then user name, and this is a varchar 64, and also declare user role, and that's varchar 16. And then I want to create a cursor, and a cursor is like a file pointer. It's used for stepping through rows in a table. So the way it works is you say declare and then the name of the cursor, so user cursor, and that's a cursor for, and then you give it a select statement. So select username, comma, role from users where username equal param user. So there's our cursor for the user data. And then to actually read the data, the way it works is you open user cursor. So that's like opening a file. And then to fetch the first row, you say fetch user cursor, which returns two values, username and role, into, and then where you want to store them. So user under name and user under role. And then when you're done reading from the cursor, close user cursor. So that should read the first row of results, and I'm only expecting one row here, and then store the two columns that it fetches into two local variables. And then to finish this out, I'm going to select these two values so that I can see the results. Username, comma, user role. So there's the first part, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Actually, I should have added some additional stuff. So let me go ahead and go back here and edit this. And I forgot to mark that it modifies SQL data and I forgot to add a comment. So what this is ultimately going to do is delete image set and underlying images. So now to test this, I'm going to do it in a separate tab so I don't have to keep going back and forth all the time. So go to the SQL tab. So let me, oh, there it goes. Okay, so to call this, call delete image set, and I'm going to pass it in an ID of 333 because I happen to know there is one of those. And then the username, Mark. And so what this should do is just show me the username Mark and the role for Mark. And it did. So username Mark, user role is verified. So let's try this again. This time I'm going to do mgadmin. Okay, so that's good. mgadmin, user role admin. And then let's try this. So there is no matching row for this. And this isn't going to quite do what I want it to do. So I'm going to hit go. And I get an error because it doesn't find any rows. So no data, 0 rows fetched, selected, or processed, which is an error here. So to fix that error, what I need to do is define a continuation handler. A little slow. Seems like the more MySQL or PHPMyAdmin tabs you have open, the slower it gets. So let me try reloading and opening it again. So delete image set, edit. All right, so the way you do this continuation handler is before you open the cursor, or after you open the cursor, I'm going to go ahead and declare continue handler for not found. So this is the thing that you do when you want to continue after finding or not finding a row coming back. And then I'm going to do a couple of different things. So I'm going to put a begin end in here. And what I want to do is just set username to empty string and user role to empty string. And that's actually set. And also set user role to empty string. And I think I need a semicolon there. So go. So I have an error here, which will not fit on the screen. So right-click, inspect. Declare continue handler for not found. Begin set username. Actually, I think it doesn't like where I've put that probably. Let me move this above the open cursor. And then try it now. Okay, so that worked. So let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to go again. That was odd. I must have hit the wrong button. Call delete image set 333 empty string. Go. So this time I got a row, empty username, and empty role. So that's good. And then let's make sure that the other case works still. mark verified. So now this is working with no errors, and that's the first part. Then the other thing I have to do is get the image set data. Yeah, it really doesn't seem to like it when you switch between tabs like that. So let me hit reload again. And delete image set. So to do this next part, I need more local variables and another cursor. So from the image set table, I want the user name, which is owner, and that's varchar64. And I want the image set original image ID, which is an int, and the image set page ID, which is an int, and the image set thumbnail ID, which is an int. And then the cursor for that is going to be declare ImageSetCursor as a cursor for select owner original image ID page image ID and thumbnail image ID from image sets where image set ID is equal to param ID. And then let me copy all this code and paste in another copy. And so this time I'm going to declare the continue handler to set ImageSetOwner to empty string and ImageSetOID to -1 because I know the first one starts at 0, and then PID and TID. And then I'm going to open my ImageSetCursor and fetch ImageSetCursor into ImageSetOwner, ImageSetOID, PID, and TID. And then I'm going to close my ImageSetCursor. And then I'm going to select username, user role, ImageSetOwner, ImageSetOid, ImageSetPID, and ImageSetTID. And this isn't actually going to work. So I'll show you why in a sec. So let me go ahead and hit go. And it's not going to work because I have that declare cursor right in the middle there. And it doesn't, I'm sorry, the continue handler right in the middle. So it doesn't like this continue handler. So what I need to do to make this work is I need to actually introduce a new block where the continue handler is the first thing. And I'm going to do that for both of these. So right after this open cursor, I'm going to begin, put the fetch inside there, end, and then declare the continue handler inside that block. Like so. And actually that was the, yeah, that's the right cursor handler. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. After I open the cursor, I'm going to begin a block. I'm going to put that fetch inside the block end, and then I'm going to move the continue handler inside the block as well. And tab it over like so. So this should work. Let me save it and see. Nope, still have an error. So it doesn't like close user cursor here. Oh, I need a semicolon after the end to end the statement. And we'll do that here too. So go. Okay, so that worked. Let's try it. So call DeleteImageSet333mark, go. And once again, doesn't like the fact that I'm switching tabs. So get autosave query. No. All right. So call delete ImageSet 333 mark and go. So username mark, user role verified, ImageSet owner mark x61, ImageSet OID, ImageSet PID, and ImageSet TID. So that's everything we need to do the deletes. So let's go back to the query, and once again I'm going to hit reload because it seems to want that. And then I'm going to edit delete image set. So here at this point in the code I have everything I need. I'm going to say if, and then ImageSet owner equal param user, or user role is equal to admin. So that means the user has rights to do what they to delete the stuff. So if that is true, and I actually got an image set, so I'm going to check the ImageSet under OID not equal -1, and ImageSet OID not equal -1, then I can actually do the deletes. So here I'm just going to say select, go ahead and delete. And then it's either end or end if. Let me just try end for now, see if that works or not. And then I'm going to get rid of the select statement. And let's see if it saves this. No, so let me try end if instead. Syntax to use near quote semicolon end at line 49. So let's look at line 49. So let me try end space if here. Okay, so that worked. So now I'm going to try this query again, actually reload. And I'm going to try call delete image set 333 with mark, and I should get nothing coming back. 0 rows. And then I'm going to try it with mark x61, and I should get a row coming back. Oops, I didn't want to edit inline, I want to go. Right, so go ahead and delete. And then let's try mgadmin. Go ahead and delete. And then I'll try an image set ID that doesn't exist. Go. And empty coming back. So I seem to be getting to that statement at the right times. So the only thing left to do is actually delete the rows. So let's go ahead and edit delete image set. And then right here, let's delete from images where image ID in, and then ImageSet OID, ImageSet PID, ImageSet TID. And also delete from image sets where image set ID equal param ID. So this is the dangerous part, but I'm prepared to be brave here. So go ahead and reload. And first, let's go ahead and find the most recent image and image set. So under Share, Tables, Image Sets, sort in descending order by image set ID. So the last one I added was 346. And then under Images, and descending order, 1093, 1094, 1095. So let me delete 346. And that's owned by Mark. Call delete image set 346 mark. Go. No rows coming back. Now I'm going to go to image sets and sort in descending order by image set ID. And now the last one's 345. So that row is missing. And then under images, I'm missing 1093, 1094, 1095. So as far as I can tell, this is working now. Let's go ahead and test it in the system. So I'm going to reload here. And I have 4 of these. And I'm going to delete one. So 002.jpg, delete. Now, when I hit delete, I want this to go away. So let me go ahead and change the code to do that. But first, I'm going to hit reload, and now I should only have 3 of these. And I do. So let's go ahead and change the image view so that when they hit the delete button, I issue the AJAX request, and then I also close the dialog. So this is going to be image view dialog, close. And then I don't want to do anything else because the dialog is closed now, so I'm just going to return. So let's try it. I'm going to delete the first one of these. Delete, and it closed. And now if I reload, I should only have one. And now I'll delete the second one, reload, none of them. So that seems to be all of the metadata and image deletion in the image view. The only thing that we have left this week is to update this gallery when the user leaves the image view dialog.